Hello everyone again. So please welcome our next speaker on the stage, and it's the company 55 North Mining. Welcome. It's your turn.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you. I'll say this straight out, I have not made any kind of presentation on 55 North in something close to 4 years, since before COVID. I basically shut down any kind of investor relations, any kind of money spent to save the company because of the state of the market. I think it's time to come out of my shell. The price of gold has doubled in the last 2 years, and we have quite a remarkable story. I'm going to say two things to you right out of the gate, and both of them are going to sound probably preposterous, but once I explain it to you, I think you'll understand. This company will either be in production in the next 2 years, or we will have been bought out. We will be in production, or we will be bought out. It's as simple as that. 55 North was created around an asset called the Last Hope Gold Deposit. It's in Lynn Lake, Manitoba. Sort of getting there. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Last Hope Gold Deposit. I have drilled a total of 184 holes into it. Only 7 missed, and that's because we located the drills in the middle of the snow, and we were about 200 meters east, and we drilled east. Anyways, this deposit is open along strike to the south and down dip. We're raising money currently to go back in and start drilling. Probably, given weather constraints, it won't happen until late December or early January. The deposit's about 1 kilometer long right at the moment, and there is an IP geophysical survey that shows it goes for at least another 3 kilometers. So I've got roughly 400,000 ounces at just under 6 grams. The key ingredient as to why this company is going to go forward at a fairly good clip is Alamos Gold owns all the property to the north of us. I sold that project to them in 2016. I sold them 5 million ounces of resource. They have continued to drill it, and they announced that they're going into production this January, and they're building a 10,000 ton mill producing about 250,000 ounces a year. Critical comment here, my grade is 4 times at least what the grade is on what Alamos is going to be producing. They're going to want my deposit. They broke ground. They've already poured the cement pad for their mill and for their camp. This is a very safe, friendly place to operate, northern Manitoba. Manitoba hasn't changed their mining tax laws in over 70 years. It's a good place to be. I have recently signed my 2nd or 3rd impact benefit agreement with the local First Nations. I have worked with these people for about 15 years. Literally half an hour ago, I was on the phone with the chief, just explaining to him about the fact that we've had a roll up on the stock as of today, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Just so that he understands what's going on. Because these guys, believe it or not, they want to follow the stock. They are shareholders of the company. And management is experienced. I work with a good team. My record, I think, is extremely good. You can read it on the last page. I was an investment banker in Toronto for about 15 years. And then about 30 years ago, I started creating companies. I've built 15 companies. I've sold 11 of them. 9 of them are now in production, and 2 of them, including the Alamos, are under construction. I've had a pretty good success rate. I'll also talk about the valuation for a second. I have a market cap right today of about $10 to $12 million. In May, it was about $3 million, so we're moving up. And that's because a few people have recognized that we're in the shadow of Alamos, And the price of gold, let's not forget, has doubled in the last 2 years. Makes a big difference. When I sit around and do my net present value analysis on my project, knowing that I'll be in production in about 2 years, it's extraordinary the delta between what that NPV is and what my current market cap is. I mean, I think you all know that the juniors have been left in the dust. A lot of the majors have risen with the tide, but practically no juniors are trading anything close to the way they would have before. And I'll admit, I haven't talked to anybody about it. This is the first public presentation that I have made in probably 4 or 5 years. Strong gold environment, I just talked about it. I don't know what any of you think. I think the price of gold keeps going up. Alamos started production of their deposit. They'll be in production late 2028. I'll also point out that Rob McEwen, who is running Canadian Gold, just bought the Tartan Lake mine, and he paid $80 million, which is the equivalent of $400 million an ounce in the ground. It's extraordinary. And I traded $10 million, and that thing is nowhere near going into production. They have no infrastructure. Actually, to tell you the truth, they had a very old mill on the property, and everything at the site got burnt in the last forest fire about a month ago. I have started to raise money to restart my drilling. I'll also mention, as of today, my stock has done a rollback of 12.5 to 1. So it was trading at 4 to 5 cents yesterday. Today it's trading at 50 to 63 cents. I think the last trade was 63, 62 cents. So just so you know, we have taken it from over 300 million to 25 million shares. This is a map of the Lynn Lake area. You can see where we are in northern Manitoba. The town of Churchill, where you go to see polar bears all the time, is right up here. We're over here, Saskatchewan's right here. You can see where there's 2 major structures on the property. I'm just south. This is obviously some sort of a cut off the major stuff. The mill is going in the town of Lynn Lake. Lynn Lake's 800, 900 people. It's been a mining town since 1928. It's where Sheriff Gordon got their start, but there's been mining going on here for just shy of 100 years. That's my claim map, and the property is right up in here. All of this property along here belongs to Alamos. This is our resource. We're thinking of redoing our resource, just a desktop study. This was done in 2021 when the price of gold was $1,600. Now, we're still not sure whether we'll get a lot more gold based on, you know, something over $3,000, but chances are the grade would go down, the tons would go up dramatically, and we might get a lift in the gold, but you know, we'll see. We may or may not publish that if it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. Most of the gold in this deposit occurs between about 2 grams and 8 grams, so I'm not sure there's much if we drop the cutoff grade. I talk about the current resource. This is a classic, geologically, this is what's called a lode gold deposit. These things are everywhere in Ontario, Manitoba, and Quebec. I think there's probably been over 200 mines of this type that have operated in the Canadian Shield. Most of what you saw in Timmins, Val-d'Or, Noranda, Kirkland Lake, they were all gold, lode gold deposits. That's what this is. It's basically like a big shower curtain that just hangs in the ground vertically. There's no dip on it at all. It's not particularly wide. It's somewhere around 3.5 to 6 meters in width, but it's relatively easy to mine. We had some preliminary metallurgical work. You get about 95% of the gold out using either a carbon and leach or a carbon and pulp, which are your 2 standard methods of recovering gold. This right here is a side view of the deposit. This is about 1 kilometer this direction. We actually do have a set of holes out this end right here that I couldn't include in the resource. They were too far away. But our intention is to start drilling in November and just putting in fences like 3 or 4 holes like this. Best hole in the deposit was down here at about 450 meters. It was 20 meters of 30 grams. Maybe I've got that reversed. Maybe it's 20 meters, 30 meters of 20 grams. I can't remember now, but it was 4 years ago. But you know, it does blossom out in lots of places. This gives you a shot, a similar one, and you can see all the various drill holes that are into it. As I mentioned before, there's 180 drill holes that we put into it, and we missed on 7. Every time we drill, we hit it. It's very continuous. The grade migrates up and down, anywhere from 2 to 15 grams, but that's fine. You know, when you're mining it, it'll come out just nicely. These are some of the highlights from the last time I drilled. I haven't done anything in about 4 years because of the state of the market, but you can see they're not bad. Reasonable grades here, up as high as 19. That was like 15 meters was the highlight of it, but it generally does get 2 to 8 grams, and it's a very easy deposit to mine. This shows you some of the other stuff, and it's got some of the highlights in it. And I forget, I think it's down here somewhere is where the highest grade drill was. But we have a pretty good idea what this deposit looks like. And like I said, we're pretty sure this thing continues for another 3 kilometers that direction. These are some of the historic highlights that we've had. Actually, you can see, okay, not on a very wide width, but you can see we've had some pretty good zingers. Obviously, we hit a nugget. There aren't actually a lot of nuggets. It's a fairly fine-grained ore, but clearly we were hitting some nuggets here in some of this stuff, but you can see it does have some high grade throughout it. I'm not going to go through too much of this, other than Alamos is building just to our north. Their mill will be 20 kilometers by road. There is roads all through the place. There's a major power line that's about 10 kilometers to our west. You can drive right to Lynn Lake from Winnipeg. You've got a 5,000 foot runway. You've got a 44-bed hospital in Lynn Lake. Alamos is building a 500, 600 man camp. This is a good place to have a mine. We believe that either Alamos they're gonna toll our ore for sure, but they may not want a junior partner, which is why I'm saying we're either gonna be in production or they're gonna buy us out. It's that simple, and I know the guys at Alamos. I sold them the original project. Indirectly, I also sold them their Island Gold project that I worked on for about 1999 to 2004, and I sold that to, funny enough, I sold it to Richemont for $40 million, and in 2019, Alamos bought it from Richemont for $1 billion. So there you go. Historical mining area, gold was first discovered around the Lynn Lake area. The major production in that area was nickel for about 80 years, but you have had gold that has been produced more recently. I have a very good relationship with the First Nations. I know a lot of the people there by first name, and I know the chief and the council. I talk to them on a fairly regular basis. And I've said I signed an impact benefit in 2023 and 25. I also signed impact benefit agreements with them when I was running the previous company that sold Alamos the project in 2008, 2012, and 2014. It's got myself. I've worked with Julio for the last, well, I'll say 20 years or so on various projects. Sandra Jackson is a lady, First Nation lady, who has worked on just about every major First Nation negotiation in Ontario and Quebec. She's worked for the federal government, she's worked for the Ontario Hydro and Manitoba Hydro, she's worked for probably 15 different bands. She knows who's who in the zoo. She's an extremely good person to have for both sides when I'm dealing with First Nations. Herb is a gentleman who owns, I think it's like 200,000 square miles of ranch in central Saskatchewan. It's a 5,000 head beef cattle ranch, but he's also a very successful businessman He also went to a residential school, which are causing a lot of controversy in Canada, and he speaks, reads, and writes fluent Cree and Ojibwe. You know, for a man who's a 6'5" blonde gentleman walks into a room, people pay attention, particularly the First Nations. Makes a difference having a guy like that on. He also knows who moves in the prairies. That's the end of it. That's just some pictures. These are some of the vehicles I work with in the area. Shares outstanding after the rollback, 24. I will add to that with the current, also I do have $500,000 in cash and no debt. And that, if you really want to read it, is my bio over the last 30 years. You need to get in touch with us? Phone Vance. He's the easiest one to get a hold of. He's sitting here in the front row. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much. I'm in the booth just 2 little blocks over. If you want to talk to me after the presentation or tomorrow, I'm around. Thank you very much.